Joel, the North Lake Volunteer Fire Department is doing an excellent job.
I think they did 100 and I forgot how many hours straight burn time out there. Mostly people do some role play.
It's
And it was very needed.
very needed. It really
Yeah,
is.
They're still ongoing, and they're not done.
No, they're doing great work.
They really are. Plus they get the fire department all cleaned up themselves.
You get two. That's one out.
Okay, I'll get just OT is Tana here or she?
Yeah,
She'll probably grab it, yeah, she'll probably grab it.
I'm sure she's.
Yeah, we did.
Okay, you have two versions of the budget in front of you. Both versions include mandatory increases from some different costs from the city. And if any line item had an overage this year, then, you know, we pretty much knew we needed to go up in that. But other than that, everything else stayed the same. And that's gonna be version 2 is where no raises are included, just the mandatory increases, those ones that we know are coming. Version 1 has the mandatory increases that we know that are coming, and what we've done in the past as far as raises, which is the 5% of $2,000. That's what's included in version 1. Also need to note that none of the sheriff's requests are included in these versions. Most of the it's gonna take a lot of work to work those in, and we won't have to present those before we go and do that extra work. So that you can tell us what parts you want to work into the budget.
On the rate, they were like, putting it like years ago, my plan was, just trying to widen the gap, so they should pay the employee. But we stuck in a deal, 5% or $2,000 per year was the most. I want to back down to 5% or $2,000.
That's what's in here.
It is,
Uh-huh.
yeah, but not whatever's the most. That just gives the best salary people.
Yeah, it's $2,000 for 40,000.
How would you decide whether it's
It's simple, $40,000. That's what we said there. 5% is $2,000. $3,000 or 5% was, you know, in other words, people over $40,000 over $2,000.
Instead of 5%.
That's right.
It's backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got it backwards.
Flip it
That's
more.
backwards.
Yeah. The under 40 gets 2,000,
Yeah.
over
Anybody
40
over
gets
40
1.
gets 5%.
Yes. Right, and that's what's in here is 2,040 and under, and anybody over 40 is 5%.
And what he's saying is he wants to flip
I
that.
don't want that.
He wants to flip it where.
But you're gonna decrease you're gonna make it backwards.
That's where we'll start with.
No,
No,
no.
it's always been
Whichever's the most,
whichever's the lowest.
I
And
basically disagree with y'all. The first thing you have to do before that.
I understand what he's trying to do is even if we've done it in the past, what he's saying, if we flip it, it'll start bringing that gap closer together. Mathematically, I think that'd be correct.
no,
No,
if you give those that are at 40,000 or less 5%,
that decreases
I
there.
understand. All right, so the
they're
2,000.
gonna get less than 2,000. And if you give those Yeah, there will too,
That's
Wayne.
not what I meant. We set the deal at 5% of 40,000. That's $2,000.
Right,
Everybody below that gets $2,000.
correct.
Everybody above it gets $2,000.
Okay, so you just want.
And you want to take out the 5%. You want to do away with the 5%.
Years in the main salary, 40,000.
So 2,000, I thought what I understood was you wanted to do 2,000 across the board, no matter what.
More or less, yeah.
That's what I was
Okay.
saying, you want to do away with 5%.
Then we went with 5% of 2,000, which is multiple $5,000 job, that's $3,000. And that just widens the gap on the list pay. That was a plan start later this year.
That would save a little. That would bring the 362.5 down considerably.
We should do this, that's 2,800.
I was looking at the.
Version 1 is a $285,000 deficit,
Correct, and that has the 5%.
and the other one has a $163,000 deficit.
No, no, not a deficit.
You know, positive.
Oh,
Really good, yeah.
But version 1 includes special requests. Did somebody asked for something in particular?
Version
It's
one,
included.
they're not noted, except on 285.
It's on the top.
It is.
Sorry, we should have put-
Small print.
Budget version 1 on the very top
Very
line.
top line.
Version 1.
Okay, I got it.
He did the small print.
Yeah.
Part I'm
And
going
version 1 has a deficit of $285,248. Version 2 has a positive of $163,134.
That includes no raise, right?
Version 2 includes no raises.
Yeah.
Version 1 does.
I mean, raises that individual elected officials ask for, or is that the across the board?
That's across the board. We did
So-
too,
That visual.
That will change.
a little.
If we do the 2,000 across the board, that'll change. It won't be that much, but every bit helps.
It also includes a $5,000 more for the library, and I think they're the only ones that asked for an increase so far. Their regular yearly is 35,000, they requested 40,000. So version 1 increase includes 40,000. And any special, like I said, any special request that anybody asked for is in version 1.
Museum,
Yeah, the museum came in and asked for a huge increase.
No, I did not.
that's 59,000
Yeah, it's way up.
from like 5
So first on our presentation is the sheriff, that he's still got a few minutes to get here, so.
He actually will not be making it. He was diagnosed with COVID.
Okay, is he sending somebody or does he want to reschedule?
I think we're just gonna reschedule him. And I had everybody else set at like 10:30 and on, and we can see if anybody else is ready to come in.
You guys, please do. Hey, Daryl, would you call, over and see if Scott on Ag, would you step out and call and see if he can come on over?
Yes, sir.
Well, the next on the list was gonna be the clerks and Christine. Cheryl's not here yet. Sharon's not here, but Cheryl and Christine want to go ahead and talk, but she's waiting for Cheryl to be here. Because she's not here yet since I had her set for 10:30. You want me to go down the list and see if I can get ag extension here? Anybody else?
I got Daryl calling, Scott, so I got, the public library, you wanna see if they can,
I'm sure can.
He's on the way, Judge.
thank you, Daryl. Scott. Oh, Scott.
Anderson.
I don't know which judge is busy upstairs, I don't know if it's, district or county court or law. I was just trying to call the ones that are scheduled for.
Not the one.
Stephanie, would you mind checking to see if, Judge Smith is free or whoever he wants to send?
They canceled the jury this morning, so.
Maybe he's free. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
Did the sheriff visit with, Ms. Dillon and say he was going to? He's asking for quite a bit of an increase, just in case you haven't visited with him.
Fuel costs, they're way high, fuel.
You'll have copies of the budget request for the ones that were supposed to be here today in your book.
Yes.
Now, a lot of the requests, they weren't changes, they were just moving funds from one line item to another.
So it's a wash.
Yes.
Sheriff is, we all know what happened in Uvalde. The sheriff has been working with the school districts, and he's going to be presenting to us when he can come back. School districts will want to split the cost with the deputy that's committed to the schools, and all he does is visit each of the campuses as often as he can. I think it's a fantastic idea, especially by way of cutting costs. Now, the expensive part on that is we got to buy them a vehicle, so. I don't think they want to share in that cost. It'd be the county buying that, they're not cheap. And that's on top of the 4 he's already requested. So he and I have had a good visit. I'm sure he'll get with each of you
You can't give it insurance.
and give you, well, you have it now. And give you his proposal for it.
Yeah, I wouldn't go any. That wasn't anything that was out of the. Sheriff was the only one that had some major requests. We're gonna have to figure out what the funds from that, because that's gonna change because of tag. That money that's being, they revamped it, and then to get stuff. I don't know, they're gonna be getting that money anymore. Our child safety. It might be that way, but I'm not sure, because Ann has collected money for something, and she said that it's not being billed out to the fund anymore, so I'm not sure how that will change. That's something that we're gonna have to take into consideration.
Motion, I think it'd be down here about 25 for that.
Thank you.
So we were just discussing that the change to the fees that are collected by the county clerk, usually we allocate child safety fees among various organizations, and due to changes in legislation, those fees are expecting those to decrease substantially. So we may be having to look at going back to funding some of these organizations back out of our tax dollars.
On version 1, just off the top of your head, which departments are having the largest, requested the largest?
There really weren't any big requests for anything, like just the library asked for more money, and then everybody else just revamped to where they were within their budgets. The only one that asked, but Vance has got major requests, and museum,
County Museum.
Museum, good.
and then, and there was that, Michael is asking for continued funding for his assistant out of, plus whatever raises he get for the next 2 or 3 years out of the ARP funds.
Oh, that was hard.
So what about the museum? Is that not included in?
No,
We
I
already
didn't.
written down
I don't have anything on that.
They came
I don't
in
know how much they
and
came in and asked.
They asked for 59,000 last week,
Okay, no, that's not in there.
as opposed, I don't know what we've been allocating to. It's not anywhere close to that.
No. I believe it's in at 655 museum.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying.
And they asked for what?
59,
They asked for 59,000?
59, yes.
That's more than I've ever seen.
Who was that?
The
Like,
museum.
that's museum.
I wrote it down.
Did we get a copy of it? I didn't get a copy of it.
Judge, the public library has to keep their 11:15 because they have an interview set up before that. I didn't get a hold of the district judge to see if he can come down, I can do that.
We took care of it.
Oh, okay. And then Larry, I called, he's not in yet, but I told him to call me when he gets in and maybe we can move him up. I did the same with Lisa Stevens with Good Samaritan.
So, thank you. So Jennifer, what is the,
Yeah,
Jennifer,
all
what
we got
is the
is
major
financial.
difference between the surplus in version 2 and the deficit?
The 5% in 2000.
Okay, so that's not in version 2.
Correct. And that's a good one.
That was in there too. It is one the same thing for 52 million.
Okay, we're, let's say our 10 a.m. scratch, so.
Jennifer, so I'm assuming that the top line, that's your ad valorem property taxes,
Current, yes.
and that is based upon what kind of a rate? A current rate, no new taxes rate, rollback rate?
It's, as high as we could get it without having a, election.
Rollback
Yes,
rate.
The voter approval rate, which is,
Okay.
45.
Did you get this?
All of those is covered.
I have an extra.
44.
yeah, I got it.
Got it.
Yeah, the voter approval rate is as much as we can do without having to have a vote in November, so that's what we're,
Roll back rate.
right, so that's what we're, using as our proposed rate,
Total 148.
488.75.
So we, So that would be back from 25.6, I think, right now, or something like that.
I have 542.
Yeah, I mean, I wish we could do like the city early did, but still, that's better. Any drop is better than none.
So it's actually, it said it's a drop, but that's actually a what percent increase over last year, 3%, that's what the rollback is for the other approval rate is 100% over last year.
Because I understand the question.
The voter approval rate is how many percent more than last year's? This, you can only go how many percent from last year's, so how many percent increase of that in revenue?
3%.
3%. And is that taking into account the new
No,
property and stuff?
our rate last year,
That's right. That's it.
so what we're gonna propose is this, which is less than that.
I understand. Because it's,
I know what you're talking about. The no new revenue rate is 45 instead of 55. But we're gonna go over that no new revenue rate by 0.03, which is the
we were supposed to see money this year though, to meet new construction.
Yeah, that's factored.
the new appraisals
Um,
have driven it down from 55
I understand.
to 48.
How much additional you get this year, new construction.
New additional.
We don't know.
That's gonna be bigger than what it's up to pass. Yeah,
There is a, construction.
We don't know. That number's not part of the calculation.
Not part of the calculation of the figure.
Yeah, I'd like to.
It's, we don't know that. It's not one that's given to us.
I
Yeah,
backed,
last year. Yes, they certainly did. They gave it to me.
I backed into it at 311,000. I'm not gonna promise that's correct. I backed into it at 311,000 change. I'm not gonna promise that's correct, but that's what I.
That's pretty consistent as last year, so thank you.
This year is supposed to be good. Just like, or you want that bill in the previous year, the same, so I'm not seeing that number yet.
So you see it here, going from 55 to 45.
See that?
That's our inflation, so
That's 3% increase.
Scott, you wanna come on up? Scott from the Ag Extension has come early, so.
Good morning.
Morning, appreciate y'all being to us early.
Thank you for accommodating.
We're pretty close to asking for status quo. Main thing is total of a $3,800 increase in travel. How about across, not parade?
How about fuel for the van? Did you account for that?
On that, it's a separate line item for that,
You're saying, did you ask for a different fuel cost to come?
well, what we asked is what we have to roll over, because we're not driving the van every day. So we're asking for the remaining balance of the 4H van to roll over for the coming year to help add to that.
Of that 3,800 total increase in travel, asking for $50 a month per agent more.
I didn't see anything.
It looks like this, Gary. It's in your paper and it looks like that. It's right after, it's,
How much money is
I haven't found it.
okay.
And the fuel,
Not sure.
see that report.
It's after the district clerk salary request.
Looks like this. They were set in your folders as the time, but now that the time's changed, that's irrelevant.
Total $2,000 increase to be split between the three agents for out of county traffic. There's hotels.
Oh, with the cost of everything going up.
Y'all, some of y'all just came back from conference, you got some idea.
And it is, I mean, I was in Odessa last week for our 4-H aging conference, new professional development, and those hotels were almost 150 with the rate that they gave the conference, the state rate. And so hotels across the board for conferences that we do our professional development, and then for any of the travel out of state that we do with the 4-H youth, and that's the out of county part.
Jennifer, is this already in version 2?
No,
It's in version 1.
version 1.
We kind of have our versions back. Version 1.
I understand.
$50 per agent for one comes to $1,800 total, and then $2,000 for out of county travel. And then Courtney asked if y'all would carry over approximately $1,331.67 from her county line item rolling into the next budget.
We can make note of that.
It's in there,
Is it, where's the line item that's on the?
665.
For the van,
It's 665, 430. If you look in the budget, it's 010-665-430.
No, that paper that you should be looking at, it's the second one that's highlighted.
It's just hard to see through
Yeah.
that line.
And right now, they have a balance of $1,615 in there, which is what we put.
Any questions?
Incidentally, they're not 2/3 of the way through with their files in the office. Makes a big difference already. When we get it in, we'll get it back.
Good.
thank y'all.
I don't say one thing in the budget, another thing in this paper right here. Valerie, for that.
Sir.
Roll over of people with the man, which one was that?
It's the second one that's highlighted, the black line on it.
I think
Last year it was
The one
2,000.
that's travel, 35,800.
No,
Right
one,
under
keep
it.
going down, right under it.
You can't read it.
Oh, they've got.
Or-
It's not highlighted for us, it's blacked
Blacked
out.
out.
Sorry, my
I
bad,
see it
yeah.
now. I kept thinking. that
We
was
can't
mine.
read it.
It was $2,000.
It
2,000
was
is what they
That's
$2,000.
what it said. And
It
so
is
they got
right now.
1,300. Okay, I see it.
But right now, they've got a balance of $615.
I'm good.
Rush 693.
Yeah, before they spent something this past week.
Anybody else out there want to come on up?
I'm ready. If y'all don't mind, Michael left for training, and I don't really think we have any changes to present, but he left and said, don't screw it up, so I'm here to make sure I don't screw anything up. We don't have any changes to request. It's Michael's usual request of, obviously, if you give raises, please give the equivalent raise to the staff in our office, whatever you give to the county, we're grateful for that. The only thing he wanted me to make sure that I reminded y'all of as it relates to that is the attorney position that we have under the American Rescue Plan Act needs to be funded for this year, and we just ask that they get the same raise as anybody else.
When we adopted that, I believe we adopted it for the end of this year and the next budget year. I'm correct.
I believe there was a discussion of,
The 1 year to be renewed
to be renewed.
Right.
this year.
Right.
If we need
So,
to.
and then we added it the months early last year to the regular fiscal year, right? I'm good.
I can tell you that attorney has been working hard. The court this month has really been able to, over the summer, we've been getting back to pre-COVID kind of levels. And so we would definitely ask you to renew that attorney under the
We
American
did it
Rescue
for an
Plan.
entire year,
Yes,
and he's doing nothing but COVID.
she,
She's doing, I met her, I'm sorry,
that's okay.
doing nothing but COVID backlog cases?
Well, we're all doing COVID backlog cases. There isn't really a way to say this one's a backlog case, this one's. But yes, we have been working hard. I think we're seeing a little bit of catch up, but still a long ways to go, especially with the court looking up this year.
Worried about the IT division financially.
So
The IT division, really worried about that financially.
that has nothing to do with the DA's office budget, yes.
That's what we're here.
Yeah, no, yes, I believe we should. Separate from the DA's office, there's been discussions from the technology committee about coming to present to y'all about what we need to do with that. You have interviews scheduled on the 19th, I believe, to interview for a IT director position. We are trying to consider all of the proposals that have been submitted to us. But yes, that at a minimum, we would ask that you keep the IT budget exactly as it was last year. I think it would be foolish for us without any of us having that level of expertise to dabble in particulars
That's what we're doing.
of that. So, yeah, I think if you keep it like it is, that protects us, and then we can always adjust later.
Questions for the liaison? Thank you for keeping it, holding the line.
We try. We try.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Y'all have a good day.
You too. And y'all ready, Cheryl?
Sure.
Come in.
Hey, Stephanie, did you check and see if the public library, is anybody calling the library?
Yes, I already did. She's got something going on. She won't be able to be here till 11:50, which was her slotted spot.
Good morning. I want to thank each and every one of you for the opportunity to address this board. I'm grateful for the benefits that we got last year and the increases that we got last year. Last year's budget time, I requested that the court consider a step or level pay for clerks. I was told we would get a salary committee together, and that would be formed, but it didn't happen. So here we are, budget time, no committee, but that's okay. I've done some hard work, and I hope you guys take the time to look at it, because I'm very passionate about this. It's very good. It's a lot of hard work to try to get this together and to try to reach out to other clerks and kind of get this together. What I did was I prepared a salary survey for counties that are our size to kind of give the court a glimpse of what the pay scale should be versus what it actually is. And I hope goodness that we'll use this as a tool. Last year on September 20th, 2021, after budgets were submitted, a certain office requested an amendment to their budget for approval to change the title of a court clerk 1-3 to a senior court administrator with a salary increase to $36,328, and a court clerk 2-4 to a court administrator with a salary increase to $34,790. This request was due to a very tenured employee leaving the court, and both of those raises were approved by the court. Please know that I do applaud this office for their request and doing everything they can do to keep their valuable employees that they have. I have asked the same thing of this court for my staff in the past, and been denied. It should be the same across, I just wish you guys would realize it should be the same across the board for all offices. I think the court gives that a precedence. So with all due respect, I'm requesting that you reclassify my staff from deputy clerks to records administrators and senior records administrators with the same salary scale as the staff that was approved for court clerk to court administrators. And I've listed on, let's see.
On page 3 of the budget printout that I gave you, you should have heard there's one for you. Right. Page 3, I have it listed what I've requested for each of my employees, okay? It would be changing Becky Dudley from chief deputy to senior civil records administrator with that salary listed. She's been with our county for 12 years, which is 6 more years than the clerk in the office that you bumped up to make almost as much as she was making, or actually maybe more. Just want you to take note of that. Diane Newton, I've asked for her to be changed from chief deputy to senior criminal records administrator with the salary that I have listed. And each of my deputy clerks, I have them going from deputy clerk to civil records administrator. And I have their salaries listed, okay? I do have one that's a little bit different because her name is Amber McCullough, and I have her going from deputy clerk to assistant senior criminal and civil records administrator. This young lady serves both civil and criminal, and she is a backup for the chief deputies when they're out. And she's been with our county for 5 years. Carrie Molachek, I requested that she be changed, and her salary is listed there, to civil records administrator as well. My staff has earned the right to make what others throughout the court estimates. And I'm not just speaking about my staff, I'm speaking about all the clerks, okay, all the clerks in this county, okay? They have earned the right to make what others make throughout the courthouse. And it's unfair to label them as court clerks when others come into the county making much higher salaries, just because their titles are different. They are the hub of this courthouse and have demonstrated a tremendous amount of dedication and loyalty, especially to COVID, and every day. While other offices were closed due to COVID, they were in the office every single day, risking their own health to serve the public with friendly, courteous service. They also provided curbside service with a smile when the courthouse was closed. They had to change work processes to accommodate the OCA guidelines for COVID and work daily to keep grants coming in and staying compliant with reporting with a failed and broken system. Do you realize that without the compliance, the compliance that we offer, our county would not be getting grant funding? A quote from Patty Henry, president of the County and District Clerks Association of Texas from his county, shared this after she received a copy of my salary survey. She said, we might consider expanding our deputy salary surveys to include what the secretaries do make. It seems ridiculous for a secretary to make more than a deputized bonded deputy clerk. Note that Chambers County clerks are making $40,000 and their chief deputies are making $65,000. Now they're a little bit bigger than we are, but just to know. Our girls have to be familiar with laws, statutes, legal business processes, and they should be classified as legal assistants and or administrators. You can ask any judge or lawyer, and they will tell you that these ladies are top-notch in their field. This county is lucky to have them. Our team is a very important part of our county business, and it's difficult to maintain a great team at the current pay scale when other county offices offer more. It's also difficult to attract qualified people at the level of pay that we have to offer. I'm requesting that you raise the starting salary to $30,000 for the 47 days. Due to the net data, PID, and TRN issues, our staff has had to take on a whole new set of duties and skill sets in order, in addition to the ones they already have to do the job at hand. We have come to you last year and asked for Tyler Odyssey, and because our system we have is antiquated and it does not provide what we need. Switching from net data to Tyler Odyssey would have made our process more up-to-date and streamlined. It would have made our job so much easier. We would be working smarter, not harder. We were denied the approval and stuck with to continue with the dinosaur system that we have, and it doesn't work. And we're left to figure out how to do our jobs in a workaround situation, which is so challenging, honestly. There was some interest in hiring a person from my office and Sharon's office to be dedicated to correcting all these PID and TRN issues, I believe we are rising to the occasion to remedy this issue, which is added work and stress because we have to work around problems with the case management system. I would rather the court raise my staff to the salaries I requested than hire an additional person. I also believe it is in the best interest of the county that the county, my team, and the public. The additional salaries I'm asking for would be much less than hiring a new person with the benefits and a starting salary of $27,000.
Well, I discussed that, and what I was asking was out of the ARP money, help us get caught up so we keep our parameters. We've been temporary, if I brought it to the commissioners, but y'all said y'all.
I think we've got it under control, but that just shows you the kind of people that we have, loyalty and dedication.
So it's apples and oranges, it wasn't a full-time permanent position.
Right.
No.
Okay, well, still, nevertheless, it's still cheaper than a salary.
Yes.
I had suggested last year that we consider a level or step system. To give you a brief explanation of how it would work, we would create levels of staff throughout the courthouse. The level of pay would be based on the years of tenure by a salary committee made up of a commissioner, treasurer, clerk, and auditor, and possibly a judge. Level 1 would be classified as 1 to 3 years of experience. Level 2 would be 3 to 6 years of experience. Level 3 would be classified 7 to 10 years of experience. And level 4 would be classified as 10 to 15 years of experience. Level 4 would be 10 to 15. Level 5 would be classified as senior level employee. Compensation would be higher. These staff members would be reclassified when they complete that level at budget time. That's what I'm suggesting. That's what I wanted. That's what I brought to the table last year. And I wish that you consider it, I think it would be good. I think that you'll have a more balanced way of salaries, in my opinion. I also think I also wish you would consider longevity pay. Another opportunity I would recommend would be for all courthouse employees, not just my staff or the clerks. Longevity pay would be an additional pay at a certain rate for every month of service to the county, with the maximum amount being capped at 15 to 20 years, whatever you'll decide. The way it would work is employees will receive $20 for each month of service annually in a lump sum in November with a cap of 15 to 20 years, whatever y'all suggest. Several of the counties throughout the state have a lot of ARPA funds to compensate their employees for hazard pay because of their dedication of their jobs through COVID. Our courthouse people are our greatest asset, and we need to treat them so. Any questions? Okay, so
I
I
just
did,
want to say one thing,
Okay.
Cheryl.
sure.
You've got Burnett County listed as a comparable, and they are a little higher in population. I don't remember how much.
They're 47,548.
Yeah, they're like
About
10,000 more in population.
Right,
But the big thing is Burnett County has a taxable value of the property in Burnett County of $771,946. Taxable value in Brown County is $3 billion. That's $5 billion difference. That's where they can pay more in salaries. And so, and you have Fannin County is the lowest.
yes,
And the Fannin County
it's
is
35.
more in line with Brown County, where they have their taxable value is $2,934,395,446. And Brown County is $3 billion. We're a little over that. So we're in the middle of it.
Right,
But, and let's see, Fannin County pays $26,000, and we pay $31 for a deputy's salary. Fannin County pays $37 for a chief deputy, we pay $33 at the present time. But
right,
what I'm getting at is population is not a good comparison. you have to look at the taxable value.
Right.
Because like I said earlier, Burnett County, they've got a taxable value of $5 billion.
Right.
They
Well,
can
it's good
afford
that
to
you
pay
point
a
that
lot
out. Right, but
more in salaries.
I respectfully disagree with you. I mean, I get what you're saying, and I think you're right in a lot of aspects. But by the same token, I also believe that yes, we don't bring in as much money, but we can still use that as a tool to kind of see where we scale, you know?
Give you an idea of what we're looking at. The only way we'd be able to do this is to cut dramatically in other places. There's a big difference between staff and capital expenditure. Capital expenditure is a one-time expenses. Whatever we change on personnel, and I'm just stating this for record, that's permanent. So we have to budget for that every year from then on out. The numbers the revenue that we're having, it's going to be extremely hard to do that. The only way we can really do the STEP program, which I love, would be to cut dramatically in other places. But we'll do what we can.
You can't blame a girl for trying.
No. I believe,
Because honestly,
Yeah.
They are, our people,
We're going to do what we can.
are the jewels of our courthouse,
Just want to let
other
you
than the
know.
records. And I did want each and every one of you, and thank you, Gary, for pointing that out. It's good to know. And he pointed that out last year too.
I get it every year
I know.
for every county in Texas.
And I guess maybe it would be better to just compare salaries by the tax base as opposed to the population.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what,
Population
What to
is more workload comparison, to be
Right.
honest, but not revenue.
right. Well, I'll try to include that next year, okay? But I do want y'all to look at that. And the average chief deputy is 44,624, and the average deputy clerk is 35. So we're still under. Yeah, and okay, so if you look at that, and if you look at the graph, you know, I just put those in there just so you'd see. And I pray that you think about it, that you look at it, that you use it as a tool. And like I said, I can't stress enough on how important our people are. And how the cost of living has gone way up. And the cost of just coming to work has gone way up, the cost of gas, food, everything has gone up. So, thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, sincerely. County clerk, please. Good morning.
Just a little bit of an echo from what you just heard, but mine is kind of short and sweet. I did include a clerk system. Several counties our size have done that. They have a level, an entry level, deputy 1, 2, 3, 4, depending on what size they are. And I'm asking that my clerks do the changes. And if you look at the second page that has what my girls are currently making, I have 2 girls, 2 ladies that have 4 years difference that are making the same amount. One of my ladies has been for 6 years and she's making the same pay as one of the ladies that have 2 years. So I'm asking for the system to be as often on the page there, the entry level is a starting salary until they have been there for 3 years. Then it goes to deputy clerk 2 for 4 to 7 years. And at that time, once they've completed 7 years, I'm asking for a 5% raise for their longevity and their commitment to and also there's deputy clerk 3 that has 8 years or more, and I'm asking also for 5% at the time they complete their 8 years. And the staff that I have are amazing women. I know that each of you have been in line in our office and have seen the line sometimes out the door. I'm very proud of the staff that I have, and if you've ever had to work with the public, I mean, most people are great, but it's challenging. You know, some days it's nonstop all day. You usually have times when there's a little lack, but they also have to deal with probate, leadership situations. They have all kinds of things that they have to know as far as the law goes and what the state requires. And the ladies that I have are very good. They're good to the public. They're committed to their jobs. And they show, I have a lady here that's been here 10 years. So I am asking for a 5% raise for them. Because I think that they're working and they are dedicated employees. They represent Brown County to the public. Because when most of the county comes in, they see us. And to me, it's important that we represent the county well. If they're not having a good experience in our office, that's the way they do county, regardless of if they have to deal with clerk's office, your office, commissioners. So my point is just that I think that dedication and commitment needs to be recorded. And I think that by establishing a court system that can help my ladies have a fairness salary, so that one person that's there several years is not making a difference from the person that just starts. To me, that's very, I would like it. But anyway, my request is simple. We try very hard to stay under budget. To my knowledge, we've done for the last 7 years. So I do appreciate what y'all do. I know it's a difficult job. I'm thankful for the benefits that we have, because they are very good. Not every county has what we have as far as insurance and retirement and all that. But I do hope we'll consider my court system and get our girls, our ladies. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. You have any questions for you?
Right now.
Judge Smith?
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Well, my budget for the district court is effectively the same as it was last year. So I met with Josie recently and kind of talked through that. And so what I told her is just wherever we were last year to stay there. And so a couple of points to make, and these are maybe more just things to think about. But so the district judge has a responsibility of setting salaries for the court reporter and the auditors. We had our public hearings that were required to have for Brown County. We had those on Thursday. What I told them is their salaries will be in line with whatever the commissioner's court decides to do for all the other county employees. And so the problem we had Thursday is we just don't know what that is yet. So there's some math to be done. So whatever the decision you all make about increases for employees, that will just be what theirs is. And that applies to the court reporter, Tammy Watkins, to Jennifer Robinson as the auditor, and Josie and Valerie as the assistant auditor. As far as our budget goes, we mentioned this last year, just kind of want to, sometimes you got to look hard to find the good news, but we've saved about $30,000 a year on our legal research. We just started, we're effectively now this month using Lexis and not Westlaw. And so that switch on the law library line is going to come down significantly. And so I think that's positive, and everybody works together to get that done. And then as far as, and this is not something I'm really asking for now, but I'm putting it out there, and I don't know if Judge Moss has been down here yet. Judge Moss and I have been talking for several months about there's some sound system issues in our courtrooms where we need to look at getting those upgraded and taken care of. We had a local company come give us a quote for both of our courtrooms, but we're just kind of waiting until everything with kind of our IT director situation is resolved and settled, so that and then that person, I think, would be in a better position to say, here's what we can do with what we already have, or what we need to do. But I think that's coming, and just to give you a number, I think the bid we got for the district courtroom was somewhere in the $17,000, $18,000 range for the sound system issues. Right, the sound system we have is the one they put in, and when they redid the courtroom, I think in 94 or 96, whenever that was. It works, but there's some things we need to be able to do a little different. So as far as the district court budget goes, I think is there any questions or issues about that that we need to address today?
Do you anticipate any capital trials?
I don't know. I mean, I don't have any indicted capital cases in front of me.
Okay, well,
So,
that's the only way you can
yeah, that's the
anticipate.
only way I would know. And so,
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah, they're still part of the public, well, that's not, it's not part of the public defender thing, it's actually based on Austin, now, it's still the same, it's got to.
it's the same deal, and I forget the name of it, but my understanding is that we've been in that for, I want to say that started in 2012, 2013. Judge Ellis got that going, so that's part of the deal. So
You got to rate the same, to your knowledge.
Went down a little bit.
And so you'd recommend that, thing to extend.
yes,
Jennifer, you've got, in the budget, you've got 25,000
well,
for cap.
that's a good question. Here's why. In the district court budget, there's a line and it says capital debt, I think is what it's called, if we happen to have one. My understanding is that is for something that if I needed to pay money for an expert or some kind of expenses,
Okay, so
but it's not
our
that.
portion of that.
No, that's not. That's actually on some other, it's not in my budget.
And non-departmental,
Okay. Do you know what that is?
regional,
No, how much it is? Is it
35.
So that's 20, okay. See, I was thinking that 25 in your budget was that.
It was a little confusing to me too, but I looked into that and so,
37 down.
A couple of years ago, we had the possibility, we were looking at possible debt case thing, and we talked about it, you know, that kind of budget for that either. So we, basically, that decided to do this, we have some rainy day fund, or what was left there surplus, we thought we had to, we go with that, and you tried to actually budget that.
it is a conversation that probably needs to be had and explored, because quite frankly, those cases are rare. And so you look at it over a long period of time, maybe, and I can tell you, I have talked to other counties that have gotten out of that system, but the county I talked to specifically was Brazos County. And they're a much bigger county, and they just set aside money each year for that they just have. And so, but that is a conversation that, at some point, it's certainly not be worth having.
And we've got our budget, I'm not sure we'll be at this year, how many, quite a few months out, whatever, so we can cover it, so we actually have cushion there. And the discussion we had with us a couple of years ago, that we had enough cushion there, we kind of figured that would be at that point, we found we wouldn't have to be our capital, our part of it, we still need to keep the public defender, but the overrun can probably work out of that, rather than trying to budget that. That's
It's just something
crazy
I
number,
like to
hard to
have in the
budget.
back of my mind. It's just something I like to have in the back of my mind.
That public defender's office used to be out of Lubbock and out of Austin. Their director has made a statement, he will do away with the capital punishment in Texas, one case at a time, by costing the counties so much money that counties will lobby for repealing capital punishment.
I'm
And
aware of that.
they have billed counties for lots of experts, lots of depositions. One that comes to mind is they sent 3 lawyers to the Philippines for a week or so to dispose witnesses in the Philippines. You know, so, they go to extravagant and unnecessary charges that go back to the counties. But as a district judge, a district judge has a lot of control over what they can spend for
Right.
and charge the county for it, so.
And as you all understand, I mean, there's nothing I can say about a case I don't have in front of me. So,
I understand.
and so, you're limited in that regard. And so, it is something that maybe you all wanted to take that up, discuss it more, we can figure out what that was.
Several years ago, at this time, there were, I think, 3 different cases, capital cases in the Judge Ellis had. They were all tried and convicted and nothing too extravagant was charged in those cases, so. That public defender's office is kind of scary.
Well, and I'm not really ready to talk about it today, or I don't even know that we need to address it, but obviously a large item in the county budget is our indigent defense costs.
Yes.
And so I think those are, I know they're under control now, but a reason they're under control is that we're still emerging from a COVID situation where that kind of slowed down, and so I expect at some point we'll catch back up. I can also tell you, and I'm comfortable saying this, I don't know what if anything we're going to do about it yet, but as you all know, costs of everything are going up, and the attorneys that take these cases are getting paid the same amount they've been getting paid for 20 years. And so we're running a risk of losing attorneys and not having enough attorneys to do the things that the law requires. So Judge Moss and I think we had some emails with Judge Lilly about some of the issues he has with items for guardianship cases. We need to take a hard look at making sure that we're properly compensating attorneys in those cases. So for now, I'm not asking for anything in the budget related to that, but those are just issues that you need to know are out there that we're thinking about and dealing with.
So we go back to, we should probably continue to do the original defender, whatever it is, for that for now, until we get a better idea.
That's where I would be at this point. But that's largely informed by what we've done for 10, 15 years now. It's not because I have any new gloss or any new way of looking at it. It's just what we've done. So, but to the extent that that's my call, that's where I am. But like everything else, if it needs to be addressed and discussed, we do that. That's a long way of saying we're not asking for anything else in our budget this year, other than whatever you do for the employees. I want that to apply to my court coordinators and my court quarterly auditors. I appreciate it. Yeah. Any other questions?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
The library is not gonna make it, it's about COVID.
No, that's Home Solutions.
Oh, Home Solutions, online.
So we'll reschedule her.
Yeah, we'll reschedule her in the sheriff's department. I tried to get a hold of Larry to see if I can get him to come this morning. He wasn't yet in the office. So I will go and give him a call again and see if he's there by now. And I've also been trying to get a hold of Good Samaritans as well, see if I can get her up this morning as well, but because they don't technically open until 1 o'clock, it's hard to get a hold of her. I don't have a personal cell to her.
We can always adjourn our lunch or something.
Where we at? Long story short.
Well, we haven't heard from the county clerk. I don't think we're,
She's not, obviously not here, so she won't be.
right.
Yeah,
Well, I thought somebody said,
Well, Cheryl, part of it.
maybe I misunderstood.
So, public library is 11:15. Yeah, let's look.
Yes, they can.
We got it. Yeah. Scott. Sheriff, we have 11:15.
When's the last time we called Larry?
Just going to do it now.
I'm also gonna try to get a hold of,
Yes, they just.
be right back.
What's on the screen? That's about what they were. If you work that step problem, you know, with the salaries that you got right there, I think that'd be great. That's what I thought. I'll start about it. I mean, if you're thinking about it. Yeah. There might be two guys that I have out there making a sign up, but.
Yeah.
You know, I thought it was good. I think that's the way it should be. Like I said, just figure it out with the salaries that you have. You know, swing up with that.
What the last 10 years.
Most of those girls would get 2,000 anyway.
I mean,
They
we're-
were away.
We're the 287,000 deficit with 5%, $2,000 or 5%.
Can you put it in the more? And 4,000, yeah, about 5%. I mean, 2,000. Anyway.
We appreciate you.
Of course, I'm not gonna be here next year, but what I'm saying is,
That's
political issues. Kind of cost of living increase, step countywide, rate, step possession countywide, and talk about your guys and for everybody. You put that money toward that, do it that way. I agree. We get huge increases for law enforcement. So, that's taken care of. They're where it should be, so now we can focus on that.
I was able to get Lisa bumped up to 11:30. She'll still be here at
What we can do
11:15.
is have.
Larry is still not here yet, so.
Step cost.
Okay.
Just tell them that we can't.
We'll just
Yeah,
reschedule.
we'll reschedule.
Okay, and then,
Complicated population.
Rex, just a call, because I guess he's at AT&T trying to get something done, and they won't do it till you authorize him to do the He's like eight messages or 8 phone calls or whatever, so I told him I would text him and then tell him to call
Hey,
in
Cheryl.
5 minutes, give you enough time to call.
Oh, I understand that, but there's,
Oh,
no, they've got
well,
more
that's
money.
if you want me to just text him or something.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna have a call on his cell phone.
AT&T.
647.
4,007.
I'm gonna go through it and just on where to. Thank you. I got a whole, appreciate that.
I completely agree with you, just, you don't have the money to, but you're good. If you can, you know, take your salaries that you have, create a step growth. I think that would.
Commissioner Shaw and I would like, what's to be done.
Agree with that.
Could you prepare for us, the total cost to all three clerks' offices, what they've done, the step programs they've done, who want to down, the countywide cost? We want to see, maybe time that we're not, countywide. We adopt a step program. We just want to know what the map.
I'm gonna go work on that. Okay, so what they put in their papers and.
Most counties.
Thank you, ma'am.
We're canceling Larry. 2 of them are coming here, so we'll be done by now. One more. I'll let you. Thank you.
Cheryl, y'all come on up. Commissioner Shaw, y'all couldn't hear what we were discussing. What we've asked the auditors to do is to get us y'all step recommendations. And we want to compare the numbers to grant that to y'all, to all three clerks' offices, as opposed to the countywide cost of living. Because it may be time that, a few years ago, we focused on law enforcement to get them up to where they need to be. Commissioner Shaw and I, we got to see the numbers first, but that may be a way that we'd be able to pay for it. So just want to let you know, we're going to keep going. And I agree, I think it's I just need.
Right, and I'm not just asking them, I'm asking for our money. Right.
But I'm just letting you know, we've asked the auditor to get us the numbers.
These offices closed right now.
Yeah, we've done that for 3 years. I think we're in good shape there. I agree. It's time to focus specifically.
So, I just thought you get it.
Donnie,
We'll work on it.
Huh?
okay, thank y'all. And one girl brass.
Donnie?
Well, that's right. And
Oh, I know she was super judge.
I don't like making exceptions.
But it's not enough.
I don't think anybody's called too much about it. We've got to keep that for keep people. That has been a great deal of hard work.
This may be, this could be our only option to pay for it, so we're missing the whole, well, the map to be.
I'm like, thinking,
You're not.
you know,
Crazy walls.
you know, the thing it is, we just need to realize that,
Well, I,
you know, and they want to.
They want a 3-week.
I put that deal in a few years ago. I just took $40,000. That's $2,000. Then another $2,000. Lower plate meters, we get more there. So that gap goes through, I pretty much done it. 2,5% is
just understand that you see our budget numbers, we're already below that. Or grab it adjusted to see our, what I'm getting at, it's the only way we'd be able to do that is by cutting something somewhere else. Commissioner Shaw and I are in favor that that's necessary. This is the time to do that. We'll let you know.
Just raise that.
Now, when I do, I had my issues. I didn't see it was a I didn't see it was schedule. So I figured we would do one or two. Like we got here. Well, and I just heard him say, Larry, you can't.
All those posted.
I mean, it's all public information.
Yeah.
I don't have to answer it, you're supposed to, you know. I mean, you just-
Rather we're still in a quorum.
Yeah,
Just like we did this meeting, to make sure you know what. If I see him, I'll tell him. If I see him, I'll tell him. Fellas, y'all hanging around support and stuff.
Well, I've never seen this. I thought, well, I need to get back. If you're going back to the office.
I am just trying to get my meeting together.
Heads up.
Do you know the reason for the previous grant or particular knowledge? Yeah, right.
That's fine, I'm not.
Thank you. I know who she is.
Yeah, she was in the office, I got here way before I locked the office.
Yeah, I had to have MHMR come last time.
Yeah, we know, but it's just like, I smell better on courthouse. What I remember is smell, but I don't remember.
Okay, we got.
Like that, thank you. Okay.
Okay, so. We just went ahead and rescheduled Larry, unless he happens to come up this morning, which I don't think he's going to. And I've lost my thing. And then, I've got Lisa coming in at 11:30. The library will be here at 11:15, and then we should have everybody done, because that's all the afternoons are done too, so we want us to come back after lunch. So. And now Josie's in there working on the other stuff, I guess.
Yes.
There it is. Because we were gonna have to reschedule these other two anyway, so we just went ahead and rescheduled Larry. Okay. And I also created this so that we've got a list of everybody with who to contact and phone numbers, so that I'll quit trying to find phone numbers on people.
business. Sure. Covered that, Martha?
Nearly everything. Okay, so where are you? Oh, yeah, she don't care. She enjoys everybody. Okay, maybe I can get
Okay.
finished about this.
Do you know the reason for the previous Brown County auditor's
Okay,
report, to
right.
your knowledge? Question 7, what is the reason for her report?
No, you're good. Okay, so
Oh, I see number 6. Refer to question above. Yes. Yes.
How are you, sir? Good, my friend.
Just look like you're right there. I know.
She is, there's people's voices like that. And she knows.
I'm gonna let you try. Get her quote.
What? What?
Donnie Young, she's an MHMR. She likes to give the judge all of her notes about the dead people and what they tell her to do.
Well, I think we should forward that to the Department of Justice.
Julie will probably be gracious and listen to her and, yeah.
I think it's even